right, guys, we are back. And not only do I get to combine your favorite episodes here, your favorite series, the National Treasure series, but it's your favorite person. I have BlackJadedWolf with us. And I got to tell you, Sharon, people uniformly, the episodes they love the best are the ones with you. And I'm not surprised because they're the episodes that I love the best too, because I learned something from it. And that's the sentence that I get from everyone at shows. Like, make sure you keep doing the BlackJadedWolf episodes. I learned something. I learned something about the hobby. I learned something about shows. I learned something about how to prep myself for what I'm doing in the hobby, even if they're not setting up at shows. People love it. I had to have you on here as a national treasure because you are a national treasure. Because you've been to many nationals. You've also been to bigger Comic-Con type of events. And one of the things I wanted to talk to you about is, how this is now comparing, how it's growing, how it compares to those other events that you go to. So that's a minute-long intro. And without further ado, welcome to National Treasure, Sharon. BlackJadedWolf, everybody.
Excited to be here. Now I feel like a relic, an old relic, but...
Well, how many nationals was this for you?
This is like my 15th.
15 nationals. You started going when you were 4 years old. I love it. Love it. 15.
It's actually 5, but no, I'm just kidding.
That's amazing. So, I mean, listen, so we'll just jump right into it, right? Because the fun on this, we want to talk about your experience at the National. You and I talked about this, in our prep show. We do a show, guys. If you're just tuning in for the National Treasure series, Sharon and I do a BlackJadedWolf Uncaged. We try to do it every other week. Mostly because she is a show extraordinaire. She goes to shows across the country, and we try to, talk about how she's prepping for each individual show. How did the show go after the fact? How is the next show going to be different, and how does prep for that show, change? I saw you earlier in the show. You were sort of set up in the main room, but in the back area. You know what I mean? Like people, you really had to find you. Really had to go and find you. But leading into this, I'll tell you what you said, and then I want to know whether or not your kind of prediction came true. In our show that we did a week and a half ago, the lead up to the National, you said you expected this to be a very good retail show. You expected that if you prepped the right way and had the right cards, that there would be foot traffic at this show, and that a dealer who prepped the right way and had the right cards. We're not talking about $50,000 Mickey Mantle cards. We're talking about, you mentioned Trevor Lawrence, you mentioned Shohei, you mentioned, the people who are hot. And not killer cards, but, commodity cards, you name it, cards that are approachable, that you would get retail foot traffic and people would be basically paying your price for them. So tell me, were you right?
It's exactly what happened, especially football. I have like 3 or 4 football cases. I was pretty much cleaned out, the first 2 days. And then I have to buy and replace them and stuff like that.
That's awesome. So football cards, tell me, like Trevor Lawrence, rookies, just Prism base, autographs, like what kind of cards are you?
It's everything, basically. I covered a lot of the bases. I have $50 to $100 Prism, Select, all PSA 10s of all quarterbacks, basically. Tua, Hurts, Trevor Lawrence, all those sold like pretty quickly. And there's some retail too. They're not like just repack people buying. They were buying, but awesome,
right? Because this is what people learn. I'm going to learn. So we said we jump right in 3 minutes in. So your showcases, your football showcases empty out, right? And you've got other stuff with you, right? But you notice what's selling. Now you're able to then step away from your booth. Thank you to the staff that's there, and somehow you're able to go out to the show, pick up similar cards, and put them back in your case?
No, so I don't go around and buy. Mostly a lot of people will come to me and like trying to sell me stuff. And I'm more aggressive basically in buying because knowing what have been selling. I don't go around the room because I haven't had a chance to even leave my table the whole 4 or 5 days.
That's even more fun, right? So now you've spent the first 2 days learning what's selling, seeing what's selling. And now when those things are coming to your table with people looking to sell to you, it's going to sell again, but you're paying slightly higher to get that back in your showcase because you're going to be able to flip it.
Yep. And I also took advantage of PSA grading that was there. If anything, it's worth grading there. I did it on site, and a couple of them I sold right away after I got it back from PSA too.
So give me an example. What kind of card did you sell? What kind of card did you pick up raw from someone walking around and then send it over graded, or did you bring raw cards?
Yeah, I picked up a couple of like black boxes that are Jalen Hurts rookie and Curry autograph from the black boxes, and I encapsulated right away, and I pretty much sold them.
Okay. So people were there getting their redemptions, walking around with their cases, and they said, "All right, I just got this for my redemption," and you're picking it up, you're grading it, and you're moving it. And what
it's kind of known now that I buy black boxes, so there are people who actually, somebody told me you buy black boxes.
There you go.
So,
were you buying them sealed? Do you take a gamble?
No, I don't buy them sealed. I don't like to. I gamble enough, so I buy them pretty much. I know what I'm getting.
And
so.
PSA, what are you paying to get those graded there at the show? What was it, $75?
No, I think they're like 125 to 150.
All right, so you got to be mindful.
Was the cheapest.
It's not cheap to grade a card, but obviously you're seeing the value there by getting it back. You're looking at the card over it. Hopefully, you're getting a 10 on it. The black box. This was my first experience with a black box. What
do you think?
That it's interesting. I mean, Ian and I, we do our Friday openings, and we got a Juan Soto Acuna 3-2. That 3-2 product, a Soto Acuna dual auto redemption. It was in the case, like the plastic, in the case. And I'm like, how do you put a redemption in the one touch? Like, what the heck is that?
So, okay, that I've never seen.
Yeah, it was a redemption. I may even still have it. I probably do. We obviously I redeemed it, but it's not being made. Like, it's been a while.
Yeah.
Right? So I went over to them and I said, hey, I have this redemption. It's a nice card. I think it's out of 10. Like it's a nice card. I did say to them, I know this is a baseball redemption, but my son likes basketball. So if you give a basketball redemption, box, that would be great too. I mean, I don't even know if they know what's in it. I have no idea. But I got the black box to bring home to my son. And before I even stepped out of the Panini booth, a guy came up to me and said, "Did you open that yet?" I'm like, "No, I'm bring it home. Let my son open it." And he goes, "I'll give you $600 for it right now." And I'm like, okay, maybe I give my son $500 and take $100 and go buy some more junk wax for myself. That I had never seen that. I didn't realize that was this kind of like cottage industry that's been created.
No, so there are people there that are paying like 600, 800 to 1,000 even.
Wow.
So
what do you get in the boxes that are like $1,000? Are they like
yours? Did you open yours?
Ian did open it.
Oh, okay. So I had like 4 or 5 boxes that I redeemed too.
And they were worth more than $1,000?
Some of them were.
Okay.
So I got a Halliburton National Treasure and a Maxi first off the line National Treasure. Wow. That one is like 4,000 or 5,000. So.
Woo. I mean, I think mine's around here somewhere. I wouldn't even know what it's worth because it's got the black box 101 stamp on the back. And it has like the.
What did you get?
So National Treasures has clutch factor. It's not like the real RPA; it's the clutch factor RPA. So he got that, a National Treasures clutch factor RPA rookie of LaMelo Ball 101.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's a good card. I don't know whether or not I should have taken the $600. I don't know if it's double that. I have no. It's a really nice pack.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. It depends how LaMelo plays, but the 600 might be good.
I didn't grade it. I mean, Ian was thrilled. This is a cool card. Wow, I got a rookie. I recorded him opening it, and of course he said, I still want my Soto and Acuna. Can I still get that? And I'm like, oh, come on, dude. This is a nice card. It's got a really nice patch. I mean, they must have went to like the back section of Dick's to get the nice Hornets jersey on that one. Anyway, we're not doing that today. So retail, it's sold, and you were able to replenish your section. I will tell you this. The first day I walked around, and almost everybody that I spoke to at the show was unhappy with their location of their tables, right? So most people were not happy. But I will say this. By day 2, everyone who I spoke to was thrilled with the show.
Yep.
Everybody said it was a great show. Yep. That is awesome. I mean, that is good stuff. You've been to a bunch of shows. I'll shut up. I'll mute myself, which I never do. But you've been to 15 shows. How does this one compare? I mean, obviously, massive amount of people, but talk to me about this compared to the other ones you've been to?
It's very good retail. A lot of people were really so a couple of cards you could sense it by you tell them a price and then they want to walk around. So by the time they come back, the card is gone.
That's
So
good.
that's always a good feeling for a seller. So that means there are people who's willing to buy them and stuff like that. So that's what happened quite a few times this weekend. So that's why, remember I talked about having a card with your booth and stuff like that. That was very successful. But there's also a lot of people that told me, oh, they were in the first entrance and they didn't know there were cards on this main booth. So on the third, fourth day, like Friday, they're like, oh, it's their first time in the main showroom.
Let me ask you something, because that's exactly where we go. Is the show too big? Are there too many people there?
A lot of people said it's too big. I have actually, I'm talking about like retail customer. I understand we want to get the perspective of dealers, but I have a different opinion on that. But I think people said that it's too big because a lot of people just wanted to come see cards and buy cards, and they basically have to walk through like so much to even get through the dealers. Like my booth, I love my spot. I'm right across Tops, but they literally have to walk like from the front entrance to the back. And the other entrance, it's even worse. They have to walk 3 rooms to even get to the main room and then get to the back.
So I spoke to somebody who was there for a day. They were there for about 4 hours, and I was like, "Hey, it's a lot, right?" And like, "No, I made it through the whole thing." I'm like, "Okay, you may have made it through this room. Did you know that on the other side of the breakers, there's basically more room there?" No, I said, "Well, there you go. You got an hour. Let's see what you can see." You know what I mean? So it depends what door you walked into.
And I think it could help if they put in the diagram that there's more dealers on that room instead of or section in vintage. You could put vintage, you could put modern or memorabilia or grading companies instead of they literally spread us all out, and the extra room is basically opened up to get more newer dealers in. But basically everybody that just joined the hobby the past few years literally just stayed on that room because they didn't think there's more cards in the main room. So and then so many people told me I should have came here, the first, and spend my money, but it is what it is. So I think it's also not just the room is big, the layout is just odd, so.
You ever hear the phrase analysis paralysis, where sometimes you just look at something, you think about it so much that you wind up doing nothing? I felt a little bit of that myself at the show. I don't. Where do I look? Where do I go to try to buy my cards? What am I? What? And I know kind of the cards I'd be looking for. And it's funny. Some people had it planned out. I think,
a customer told me that they literally came father and son and they didn't buy a single card because they said, I would rather go to Philly and see you and email you a list of cards that I want and you could get it for me, because it was a little bit too much for them.
I mean, it really is. It's a lot. It's like a shock, really, when you walk in and you're like, wow, I don't want to miss anything. But by trying not to miss anything, you miss what you're really going there for.
But they also don't want to make mistake because, they don't know if this is a good price. Is this a card? It just sometimes it's too overwhelming.
Yeah. And I mean, listen, you don't. So how do you balance that out, right? Because part of what you're saying there is that you're all the way in the back and people have to walk through a lot of stuff to get to you. But by the same token, what they're walking through is stuff that should draw folks to you. You happen to be sort of across the hallway from it, but you happen to be right by Tops and Jeff Wilson, which I'm sure there was a lot of foot traffic with the Tops wall and people buying Top stuff and, Jeff's, card kids trading stuff and all the other fun stuff. So how do you balance that out? You don't want to say, okay, we got to give corporate less of a footprint because, the corporate side, which was a huge part of the main room. I mean, bigger than I've ever seen. The corporate part, it does bring people in, right? It lets people come in and buy the Tops boxes so that they can get the special national packs, right? And you have the kids who are coming in to see Jeff and the kids who are coming in.
We talked about that. Remember, I do Comic-Con and they were saying, we were talking about, I wish our shows are a little bit more good experience for kids like Comic Con. And I think they're trying to listen and focus on that, which was great. Kids definitely had fun going, you know. My only thing is the next couple of show locations, well, not Chicago again, but let's say Cleveland, they said it's a smaller space, you know. How are you going to entertain the same corporate amount and the same dealers and all that stuff? But that's what the new management is in supposed to solve. So let's see.
Well, I mean, it may get sort of solved for them, at least right off the bat, because I mean, the Cleveland show. I mean, you've
Mhm.
seen the space. It's a smaller space. It's gonna be a very different national. There are no hotels anywhere nearby, and the floor plan is like 60% of the space.
Yep.
So people are
Hmm.
gonna have to be more economical with with what they put out there. People are gonna have to be the corporates guys are gonna have to do more with less.
Well,
And
that's my fear too. I'm right across tops, right?
yep,
If the space was a little bit tighter,
yep.
it's a headache to be right across tops because there's so many people screaming and the lines is just massive, and usually that affects the workflow or how
Yeah, the
people
traffic.
come to my booth. Yeah.
You had it.
'Cause-
Mealy Pops, their booth was sort of in the back of the second room, and there was like carpets and like a
Mhm.
curtain, and it was hard to kind of find them. And I was walking with a couple of people, and it was sort of like like a U, right? And they
Yep.
were at the bottom of the U, and you walk one path and up the other. And we actually said to ourselves, I mean, this should tell you just how crowded, I guess, how successful the show was. We actually said to ourselves, do we continue walking this way? Are we even going to be able to make our way around that U, or do we just turn around and skip it? Because I mean, it was people at tables, and other people kind of like making
Mhm.
their way through. And I'm not a small guy, right? We decided to go through, but like we almost lost one of our party, in the mess there. We almost got pulled under by by the rip
Yeah.
current there.
So I mean, the location wise, it's a little odd. There's a lot of turns and stuff like that. But we'll see. That's the only way to accommodate. If we want to put more newer people in, that's the only way we could do it. So
Correct. So summary wise, would you rather have it like it was 10 years ago or now? What's better?
oh, no, it's not even close. The
Because there's more
hobby
money in it,
is
there are more
different.
people in it. Talk to me. Why?
So that's the thing I'm telling people. People are aggressively buying because people that made a mistake 2 years ago and buying high, now they still have that same money, but now they could buy, instead of buying one card, they could buy 10 cards. And to me, that gives them a chance to diversify, and give them a little bit more leeway on making mistakes. Instead of buying one Trevor Lawrence, you could buy five quarterbacks. And if one hits, it could cover some of your loss. I'm not saying, but if you buy one Trevor Lawrence last year, now you're losing. So
Yeah.
I think it's better. So even kids now, before they could buy one card maybe for the Nationals when they go. Now they could buy 15 cards. It's just more fun, I think, because of that. But I also think there are people that left, but there's a lot of people that I think will stay because of the boom. So
There you go. Well, I mean, listen, I think that's a very important piece, right? People who've been around for a little while, they look at it and say, wow, it's not that the bubble popped. It's I can get so much more for my money. And that's a much
mhm.
more optimistic way of looking at it. Okay, so a couple more fun ones for you. Flowers. I'm asking everybody the same question. Who would you give flowers to? I know you didn't get to walk around from your booth too much, so this might be a difficult one for you. You give flowers to your team for helping you set up and, taking care of business and making it a positive show for you. But, if you had a chance to walk around or you saw what was being done, who was doing something the right way that you'd like to, give a compliment to?
um, I actually like. I know maybe I'm a little biased, but I think the Women's of the Hobby did a good job. Their booth, their sole thing is kind of catering to the younger kids and giving free autographs the whole weekend. Some of those softball players were so ecstatic to be signing. They come early and so excited to meet the fans and all that stuff. So I think I give them, and all those women that help there are volunteer. So they took time, and came. Some of them just flew in to help out for the Woman of the Hobby booth, and I think they did a good job with that. Like Sarah and Ty, obviously, who mainly heads the group. So I think they did a good job. And we also had a panel on Saturday, so that was very good, by Card Ladder and PSA basically. I think so. I give them flowers, but I'm also anybody that's doing anything for the hobby for the new, like the kids. I think Jeff did a good job. The booth, um, those are, maybe I'm just old, but those are my priorities. I think they're very helpful.
Listen, women and children. I mean, can't go wrong
Yep.
giving flowers to women and children. I like it. But the women in hobby booth, what's funny is I had to go seek them out. Like I didn't go over there and try to bother while there were signings and stuff being done.
Yeah.
You had to go over and see it. A lot of people I talked to, I said, did you go over and see what what was going on over there? They got signings. I mean, I saw Mama Breaks go over there at one point in time. They were breaking cards, breaking packs.
Mhm.
Kayla was over there. I mean, I saw a bunch of folks, and people were like, yeah, where are they?
Yeah. And so a lot of people still don't know about it. So I had to like tell people, and stuff like that. But I think it is growing. So we just gotta hunker down and, keep promoting it.
There we go.
But
And you just
also,
gave them flowers. So good. They get
one
promoted.
more flower I want to give is so some of the female again, but I love the group. It's even if you're not in that group, there's a lot of female that actually came to support. I literally have this girl from eBay that came back like 3 straight days to buy something from me. I mean, and obviously I try to hook them up with good deals, but I love that. It's like, and then a couple of female, like, oh, I want to buy something from you.
Buyer from eBay that or this is someone who worked for eBay?
Who works for eBay. So like the eBay booth basically, and they supported, and then they said, oh, I just wanted to start collecting. So she bought, so I have like a couple of showcases, just all female athletes, signature and stuff like that. So she bought that. And even Mama Breaks, like, oh, usually I give them something if they want something, but they're like, no, 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 I want to pay. So I have a bunch of
They
female
sell,
that
by the way,
says,
guys. You listen to this. They sell. I put a bunch
yeah,
in my arena club showroom, and they're all sold. I put
yeah,
Haley Deegan, the NASCAR driver. I got Mead. I got like soccer players. I got
yeah. Mhm.
they're gone. I've sold every one of them. It's pretty crazy.
No, they sold very well. INSQ, all my INSQ. So I hope the national would see that there will be people lining up for female athlete signers. I hope they change a little of the perspective, but we'll see.
Listen, this is it's part of the National Treasure series. One of the things that has changed, and you've seen it, is there is a focus on diversity. I talked about it,
Mhm.
with Dr. Collectible. It is a common thread, and
Mhm.
I mean it should be, right, because
Mhm.
you want to bring different perspectives into it. It makes it a better overall experience for everyone. So there's your flowers. National in itself, right? So you've been to 18 of them. Was this the one that's closest? You've been to 15 of them. Is this the one that's closest to Comic-Con? Like, are we finally there, or we still have a ways to go?
Um, we still have some ways to go, but I think the gap has closed. There's a bunch of retail. I know they're trying. So the food truck, those are different. But I know they're trying to add those too. So some people are like, oh, and the line for food is like half an hour. I can't do that. So one thing Comic Con does very well, it's almost like every 20 feet there's like a food truck. So I know they're trying to do that in Cleveland because they have more space basically for that outside.
Yep.
So it's just a more fun experience and probably more things for kids to do, more interactive things.
Well,
Um,
that's the thing, right?
mhm,
So here's why you're uniquely situated to answer this, because I find myself thinking as I ask you, hey, are we close enough to Comic-Con? That there are going to be people listening to this who have been in the hobby for a long time who are saying, why do we want that? Right. And you are somebody who sets up at shows, who's been doing this for a long time. And you have the ear of and can speak for those people and to those people, but you also are someone who does Comic-Con, who does the other, pop culture events and sees, the deal flow there, the amount of money that's there, the amount of kids that are there and how they're growing those industries. So for the folks out there who may be the ones who didn't want grading of their cards, the ones who want to like, no, no, no to all kind of progress,
mhm.
why is it something we should be striving for as a hobby? Why is it a good thing that our shows, our events are moving in that direction?
I think it opens up to more people. I don't want like diversity, like you said, right? I don't want just, a certain race or a certain age group to be buying cards. Because that to me is limiting yourself to 25% of the population. If you have mom carrying bringing their children, not just their dad, and then you have boys and girls, not just boys. Oh, boys should be going to Comic Con, girls should be going to something else. I think it's now you're totally expanding your group. And now I have so many people that came this weekend because I have 4 showcase, which is a lot for non-sport, and I did well in non-sport. I literally have one guy's like, oh, my wife will kill me if I don't buy anything for her. So she, so he actually bought cards. I have like 3 people that did that. Literally bought something for their wife, for their daughter. It's like they covered everything. So I think that's cool. And then there's another guy who said, oh, he came Wednesday, and then he said, oh, his wife usually just stay in the hotel, and but she came and enjoyed it.
Yep. There you go.
So
a lot more families. I saw families. I saw a lot more families there, and
there's a lot of families,
which is good.
Yeah, a lot of female, which is great. I've never seen this much female. I think every year the female and the kids are growing, basically.
So for someone who's been at 15 of these, this might be a tough one. I'll put you on the spot, right? So obviously there's a lot of stuff that's done better, right? I mean, what's something that you saw that was better run, better done than in years past? What's something that's missing? What's something that you've seen done better in a prior year? Something that was good here, and then something that you'd like to see the next couple of shows incorporate from something you saw in the past? Better food?
I really haven't seen much, to be honest with you. I'm always been looking for, my goal is always to be better the next year.
Yep.
Even, you can talk to my accountant. Every year has to be better than the previous year. I don't care if it's in a recession,
you know what I say when I answer this one? Because it's a tough question. Some people are giving great answers. I said more garbage cans. I said we need better garbage because every garbage can is overflowing. I mean, because
that's true.
They don't plan for it. Other conventions are, it's like, okay, the food, I'm going to throw out some soda. We're throwing out packs and just base cards and all kinds of just like so much garbage.
That's true.
Flies and stuff, every
wait, the air conditioning.
Air conditioning, I'll take it, right? I mean, the air conditioning has to be better at the next couple of shows. 100%. I like that. Definitely.
And one more thing. I love the new group that's coming in, but I'm hoping that the board could, or the nationals could announce if there is major meetings to the public and to
like solicit feedback on issues, right?
Exactly. Because it's like they told people, oh, the voting is this day. I think it was Thursday or something, or Thursday evening. There's literally 20 people in the room. You're telling me there's so many dealers and there's only 20 people voting for the board is it's, and some people even said the next day, oh, I heard you run for the board and nobody was there, and stuff like that. It has to be clear. It can't be like 2 lines in the packet. Yep. That people throw away after they take their badge out and stuff like that. I just think, but those are small things. I'm not complaining. I love the board, but I think it just needs a little updating.
New guys to better inform the stakeholders, and I think that's fair, right? I mean, you're one of them. The show was successful because of you and the other dealers who were there. You'd want to be informed of things that are going to impact you going forward at the national. I think that's completely fair.
Well, and for the collectors, I'm thinking just for the collectors too, and it's not just for the dealers. I mean, it has to be good overall for everyone. It can't just be for a few people. So
I'll leave you with this, right? Because we're approaching a half an hour, all right? And you can take as long as you like because I have a feeling you might have more than one. So, deal flow. I'm going to end it with, because people love this stuff. It's like the show off. Here's what was 1, 2, 11, a couple things that appeared at your table through the deal flow, something that you picked up that you were like, whoa, I wasn't expecting to see one of these at the show. I'm definitely going to grab that. What's something you grabbed? And maybe a sale that you had as well, something that you sold that you were like, this was a cool card to sell. And even as a little bonus for our listeners here and our people watching this, maybe something you picked up that you put aside for your own PC. Because I know your PC some fun, like, non-sports stuff. Did you grab anything for yourself? There you go. Take it away.
I picked up really nice card that I'm considering, but I'm not sure if I will. I picked up a Dynasty Shohei Otani home run baseball.
Wow.
They're very rare. So I have the rookie home run ball dynasty of Pete Alonso, and people think I'm crazy, but I love holding those things because it actually tells you
The day, like when he hit a home run. That's cool.
So Otani has one basically, and I haven't. There's none sold for almost a year and a half, and I decided to buy that and kind of hold it, and stuff like that. And then the next one is I love downtown. I don't usually. I'm more like an autograph person, but it's very rare when I find a downtown one of one white sparkle.
Ooh, wow.
And
Ooh, which
yes,
one?
already.
Who'd you pick up?
Borrow. I picked
Burrow.
up a Borrow White Sparkle PSA 10. Yeah. So I didn't even put it out till the last day just to show because I'm trying to fill my showcase.
I mean, that's
But
another good problem to have. An empty showcase that you're putting cards in that you have no intention of selling. It's pretty good.
So I usually fill my showcase because if a spot is missing, I always ask my team, oh, did somebody something got stolen, and stuff like that. But it was such a busy show that there was tons of spots there, which is good.
Good thing. How
But
about
okay, so
go ahead.
this is a new thing that I haven't shared with anyone. So every show I do,
Breaking news! Breaking news!
it's not just about sales. It's about meeting people that you could build relationship with after. And I'm not just talking about, every single one I treat. I hope they could be my friend, but I'm hoping I could help you benefit you moving your cards, and I'm hoping you could help me basically.
Yep.
So I found two of those this show that literally didn't sell to anyone else, and sold a lot to me and stuff. They break and stuff like that. So I love meeting at least one of those people per show. Because if you do 20 shows a year, you meet 20 of those people, that's great for your business. Um, and I also help them. If they need to grade it, I help them through the process. If they need any sort of like giving them advice where to sell, if they have a super massive card. So one of them has like a Larry Bird logo man from Flawless. So obviously I might not buy that, but I might have a clientele for it, that sort of thing. So it's, and I'm very curious. I asked both of them, how did you, why me? Why sell to me? Like, so both of them were like, "Oh, you come highly regarded." I don't know who told them, but I'm very happy with that. So
there you go. Well, someone's lying to him. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I was waiting for you to say they heard your show. They heard Black Jaded Wolf Uncaged, and that's how they found you. Listen, it's always great talking to you. I'm glad you had a great show. Most people have agreed it was a great show from a retail perspective. I kind of liked seeing all of the corporate stuff, people trying different things, everything from Whatnot with that Mercedes that was in there, and just bringing kids in there, to Tops selling like crazy. Panini's booth, I mean. One thing people hate is the redemptions, and they do something to try to take care of people. And if folks are spending $600, $800, $1,000 for those black boxes, clearly Panini's providing value in those boxes to people, but the redemption not getting.
So many people like, oh, I have 10 redemption of like defensive guys contenders that's not worth that much, and at least you could get a Jokic auto that's worth a few hundred, at least something
right, exactly. So I mean, I like seeing that. I got a card back from PSA while I was there also. It's an interesting story, not for National Treasures. Maybe we'll tell it on the next Black Jaded Wolf Uncaged, but it all worked out great in the end. Tried crossing some cards over, nothing got the bumps, nothing got the crossovers that I wanted. It happens, but that's the fun of it, right?
It's for Uncaged. We talked about our after show endeavor.
Exactly, it'll be fun. But yeah, so listen, I'm glad you had fun. What's the next show? East Coast National?
Yep, East Coast National, and then Burbank.
I've been doing a lot of these. We might have to sneak in a Black Jaded Wolf Uncaged show edition, in the next couple of weeks before the East Coast National in Burbank.
After White Plains, yeah.
Beautiful. All right, it was great having you. Great stories, great pickups. I'm sure a lot of people bought from you, and I'm glad to hear it was a good show for you because sometimes that many people, it can be kind of overkill. But you navigated it. You did great. And that's why you are a national treasure. Thank you.